Man of God.
Yes.
Who do we have with us today, Robert Earl?
Yeah, this Peel that you're referring to comes from the Washington, D.C. area. He is no stranger to gospel music. You've seen his group minister and sing behind many, many wonderful gospel artists. We had the opportunity to share the stage with him in Las Vegas about 3 years ago. Eddie Bouchman Fulfillment and Charles Butler and Trinity. They were background artists for the Morton Foundation tribute to Shirley Caesar, Jonathan McReynolds, and Donald Lawrence. None other than the one and only, y'all. This man is somebody, Mr. Charles Butler. Welcome to the Wake Up Morning Show with Dr. L.T. and Robert L. Dean.
Good morning. How are you all doing this morning?
Man, we are blessed knowing that we can begin again.
Amen.
Oh, yes.
Well,
that's the word for the day. We could begin again.
Yes, yes.
You know, I'm just
I can start my dad over again. Hallelujah.
Yeah. you know, I don't normally start off my show with a beef.
You don't? You always got a beef.
No, but I do start off with observations.
Okay.
And I just wanted to know, in the background, I see a crock pot.
I love it.
So my question is there anything in a crock pot that if we were to come over now, that we might be able to get a little bit of?
And dine.
The thing about it is, I barely can cook. This kitchen is just here for looks. Anything I put in this crock pot, I don't know if you're gonna make it home, brother.
Yeah, but what you can do, you can cook up some good gospel music. That's what you can do.
Gospel we can do. But,
yes.
But cooking is not my thing, man.
Yes.
Well, praise the Lord. Well, we're gonna start off right there. Tell us where you are from, where you are at, and what is happening in Mr. Charles Butler's life.
I am from the Washington, D.C. area. Been doing gospel music for quite a while now, and I'm grateful to still be doing it. We started out doing a lot of background work from Ernest Pugh, even more recently to Jermaine Darley's song, Pull Us Through. We were on that. Byron Cage's albums. I mean, we've done a ton of background, and then God blessed us to have our own record deal, and then now we're here today. You know, this is like my fourth album, I believe, with The Good News, and with our latest single, Greatest Our Faithfulness, from the Good News album. So I'm grateful to still be doing what I'm doing. This many years later, releasing music in a pandemic.
Yes.
That
was a challenge. So I'm just still grateful to do what I do and do what I love to do.
Okay, so I gotta ask this question because you're in the D.C. area. You know, you were there, and did you experience all the unrest and the takeover of the Capitol? How was D.C. during that time?
You know what? It was kind of like, that ain't our people, so we went nowhere near that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Really, I mean, even with the area that it's in with the White House and stuff, it's kind of in this big box, and it's kind of like we're nowhere near that part. So it's kind of like, let them do what they do, and we wish them all the best.
Right. Bless them, Lord.
They were like,
Lord, bless them, Lord.
We kept on eating our Bojangles chicken, and we didn't pay no attention to what was going on.
I was completely unbothered because, listen, by the time I knew that eventually the police was going to do what they need to do. So, I mean, it was going to take a little time than it was going to take if it was us. But eventually, listen, when it comes to the federal, I knew that eventually, it's going to be a problem.
It's going to be all right. Now, my question is, when did you get started as a youngster? When did you know that this is something that I wanted to do, or this was a calling by God?
Pretty much, it's one of them stories. I first started out playing keys, and I literally was just playing. My first song I ever played on the keyboard was the Clark Sisters, Hallelujah. And I literally had heard it on the radio, played it. It's one of them, you know, how these artists and stars have those stories where your mom hear you playing. I hate even telling, but sometimes it'd be like, is this for real? But it's really a real story. Right. Me playing, she was like, is that you? She throws the radio, that whole thing. She enrolled me into music classes, which lasted a few weeks, because since I play by ear, I was playing full chords. And in this music class, they're playing Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
And so the last chord, the last lamb was supposed to be a G, and I added a chord. And then the music teacher was like, okay, from now on, you're going to go first. And that was my last music class.
Right.
Because I was just like, I didn't have the discipline to learn the music. So eventually it went from that to starting a choir in high school, which is Trinity. So we've been doing this a long time. We started off at Central High School Ensemble and then transitioned to Trinity and then Charles Butler and Trinity and then just, keep going and going and going. So that's why I always tell people, when you have a dream, just keep going. Just keep going.
So let me ask you a question. And I want you to answer this question in its fullness. Who is Charles Butler?
Who is Charles Butler? Charles Butler is I'm a nurturer. I am a pusher. It's who I am to be a person that pushes people to go to the next. We have so many singers that sing with me, that sing with, Kurt Carr, Kirk Franklin, Josh Copeland from Sunday Best is one of my tenors. We have just our singers has a lot of artists come to me because they tell me, they was like, look, we know that you kind of groom singers. And so I am all about my singers going to that next level, to the next platform. And no matter who my singers sing with, when it's time to do what we need to do, we come together and do it.
That seems like a big theme in that D.C. area, because Richard Smallwood singers, many of them are Yolanda Adams background singers and other artists.
Yeah, I mean, DC, I feel like DC is just a background pot. Like, we have a guy here named James Jimmy Johnson, who is a vocal producer, and he's produced Miranda's Open Heaven to Rashawn Mitchell stuff to Jonathan Nelson stuff. I mean, our singers support so many albums across the country. Even with my group, we literally did Bobby Jones Gospel for 7 years. And so the record companies would literally contract us to do all of the BGVs for all of these artists. So sometimes I would get to one show, we would do 19 artists, for a season. So it's just like, background is just a thing here. It's just, we eat, breathe, live background, and you could put us in any kind of setting. You want vibrato, you want tone. We've done country, we've done it all. We've done R&B singers, we've done Patti LaBelle, we've done Fantasia. I mean, we've done so many different types of music. So I think that's why sometimes stylistically, with our artists, it's not just kind of one thing. You can't just put us in kind of just one box.
Creative.
Now I got an artist that lives in San Diego, but's from the D.C. area. So shout out to Egypt. He want to know, do you do background singing for rap artists?
We haven't done background singing but no, we did. We just did a rap artist before the pandemic. We did a rap artist on Motown.
Okay.
Motown contracted us for, and I don't even know the fella's name.
We understand. Yeah, you've done so many.
He can't. We literally got the call the week of to do. He needed a choir on his record, so we did the choir. That's really sad right now that I don't remember the guy's name.
No, it's not.
But wait. But you remember the check though, right?
Right.
The check was. There you go.
This I do know.
I do remember.
So let me ask you this question. So how did you, this real talk, your choir, you have your own music, how did you get into the background vein? Because that is a whole nother, and let me break this down to everybody. Every time we talk about football, we talk about the quarterback and playing on the field, but we don't talk about the trainers and the owners and all the other people that make the football work. How did you get, as an artist, in the vein to create another income for background singing? How'd you get there?
You know what? It just happened. The first artist that we really did Bobby Jones for was Paul Porter. Now, the crazy thing about it is I didn't know who Paul Porter was.
Quartet. That's Quartet. Woo, he can sing. So
we did Paul Porter, and then literally Sister Beverly Crawford heard us sing and wanted us to sing for her. It literally went from her, we sang behind her, and then somebody else heard us sing and said, oh no, I want them behind, to literally Karen Clark saying, I want them behind me too. And it just kept going and going and going until, the record company, like I think EMI was the first to say, well, when next year we want you to literally do our roster. So their roster was like Smokey Norfolk, Tasha Cobbs, like it was just all these people. So that's when I kind of knew that I possibly had something. And even with that, we did Ernest Pugh's Rain on Us record. That was 2008 or 7 or something like that. So we were always kind of just, it just happened. It just kind of happened. And then I saw that it was a need for it. And when there's a need, you start trying to figure out, how can I market?
Right.
It's supply and demand.
Right.
You know what I mean? So and so one of the things that people could depend on, the reason why they hired us, and I always tell people, there's a lot of people that might out-sing us, but you can't be more professional than we are.
Right.
We was going to show up on time. We was going to know the music. We was going, it wasn't going to be any arguments about, right, if the artist said, sing this part, you sing this part. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it just kept evolving over time. And then then I started to learn more about the business in terms of paperwork and licensing and royalties and SAG-AFTRA and all those things. So, yeah.
The word that comes to mind is professionalism. Everything you named is what a professional artist should do, whether they're background, whether they're a musician, whether they're a soloist. They should be on time. They should know their material, and they should follow directions of who is paying the money.
That's right. You should. And, unfortunately, directions is something that's not everyone's thing. I mean, look at it. We can go to Chick-fil-A these days, and somebody may possibly mess up our order. So this and it's not a jab at this new generation, but even with my younger singers, I'm very, very hard on them.
Yes, they need it.
One of my younger singers now, she's only 20, maybe 24, and she sings with Kurt Carr and myself. So, but before she got to Kurt Carr, I was grooming her to get to the point. And she's a powerhouse. I found her at 19, and we sang at the Howard Theater, and she literally ripped the place to shreds. Like, I was just looking like, I didn't even know she could sing that well until this moment when she was 19. It was just like trying to just groom the singers and try to train them for, the way things should be, from the way you look, dress, everything, just making sure that it's still your brand and a product. And people don't understand that it's a gospel music, but it's also a gospel business.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to ask this question, being that, the crock pot is in the back and you don't cook. If we were to go out, if I'm coming to D.C. and we were going to go out to have partake in bread before we take care of business, where would you take us, and what would be your ideal meal?
It's always food.
Look, I didn't ask for
I'm
that.
a foodie. Listen, I am a foodie. If you go on my Instagram, you're going to see food on my page.
He is too.
I'm a foodie. So listen, I can take you, it depends on what level of food you want. Do we need 5-star Charlie Palmer's?
No, I want to hang with you. I want to hang with you in your neighborhood and experience your hood. Where we go?
See, that's the thing. I always ask people, like, what type of dining do you want? And people, when people come to town, I don't care if it's Bishop Hezekiah Walker or whoever it is, they call me and ask me where they should go eat. So I'd be like, Bishop, you want to go 5-star, or do you want to go, I can take you soul food. We can go to Carolina Kitchen. Carolina Kitchen is good. We can go to Old Epic Grill, which is in the middle. They have really good food. There's so many good food places here. We have a brunch place called Cafe 44 that overlooks the water in Alexandria, Virginia.
Okay, so watch this.
It don't be a lot of us there.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean.
Watch this. So Brother Butler, I want to be in D.C. and I want to be bougie with Brother Butler. Where are we going?
Bougie with Brother Butler. We're gonna go to Charlie Palmer's.
Okay.
Now, let's talk about that, because you had a great transformation.
Yes.
Let's talk about that, but I think it's very, very important, because we in the church world, we tend to shout and dance over everything, but we don't think about our finances, our health, our mental. Let's talk about your transformation.
My transformation, for those who may not follow my journey, I was over 500 plus pounds. And I've lost now 263 pounds. That number right now fluctuates because I probably gained about 14 pounds in the last month. And that's because I'm an emotional eater, and I've been experiencing so many of my friends having all these deaths in their families.
Yes.
Like one of my best friend just had to bury his grandmother and sister within a week.
Jesus.
So helping him to plan 2 funerals and all of this. But I'll make sure it doesn't spiral out of control, whatever. But I literally was over 500 plus pounds, man. And I was just going and going and going, and I was comfortable at one point just being like that. So eventually I had just a turnaround and said, look, I can't do this no more. I can't live life like this no more. From having to always fly first class. I remember putting out my Make It album, and I literally was flying first class every week, not to be grand. It was because I wasn't comfortable in coach. You know what I mean? And so you imagine being on promo, you know, promo's promotion, you're not getting paid to go to these dates, and people don't understand when you sign to a record company that this comes out of your budget.
Recoup.
It's nothing but a loan. So when you get that statement back and then you're handed a check for $108 and you have the number 20 songs in the country and you know how many albums you sold and you get $108, then you sitting there like, where's my money? I felt like I was Missy Elliott on Behind the Music.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I remember seeing her on Behind the Music, and she was like, I was having these parties in Crystal. For me, I wouldn't have no parties. I was literally trying to just be comfortable. To live comfortably and to do gospel music comfortably, not be grand. I would never ask the church to fly me first class. They'd give me my coach ticket. I would upgrade myself. You know what I mean? So it was just like, all of that, I was just like, I can't live like this no more. And then I remember one time I was on a plane and it was full, and I was in Vegas. I had to go from the Stellars to Dorinda Clark shows in Detroit, and the only flight that was going to get me there on time was a Frontier flight, and we know Frontier is not comfortable.
Not at all.
So I remember my assistant being on the phone with the airline and having to get 2 tickets. And the lady on the phone not even understanding why. And then finally she had to tell her why. But then the system not even accepting it. Like, the system didn't even recognize, like, why would it be 2 tickets in one person's name? So I had to put 1 ticket in my name, the other ticket in Charles P., which is my middle initial, Butler. And then just sitting there, just putting the ticket in the seat just so nobody sits there. That whole process in my mind was kind of like, you really can't. You really just bought 2 tickets to fly. And I was just like, I can't live life like this. I couldn't. And even when we got to the Dorinda Clark show, I got to tell her about this one day. I remember that there was a smaller chair that was on set, and I remember them literally having to take the smaller chair out and bring a big red couch in to accommodate me. And it was just like, so many times my assistant was like, she wouldn't tell me this. She told me this kind of later. She was like, well, it was a lot of times we had to kind of make sure that you were accommodated before you got there. But they just wouldn't, you know, even Troy, my former manager.
My friend.
You know, would make sure that I was accommodated before I got to a place. So I was like, I can't live like this, because it's literally like a handicap.
That's
that
strong.
I can help by just drinking my protein shake, you know what I mean? Doing my meal replacement. So it's just like, if I can help it, I don't have to be this way. I'm choosing to be this way.
This is powerful, man. This is powerful. You're blessing people all over the country by this transparent testimony, because, you know, you were always sharp. Now, I'm going to give you your props. Even when you were at that size, you was dressed.
The Lord was kind. My mama wasn't playing with that. My mama knew I was going to be a big boy. So when I was younger, my mama kept me fresh. My mama kept me fresh. I gotta say that. I thank God for my mama. But I was gonna be, you know, I was gonna smell good. They always say, literally, people walk up to me and even now be like, let me smell you. What you got on today? What kind of cologne you got on? You know, but those things you do to overcompensate. You know, I wore designer shoes or more expensive clothes, but now I be wearing these cheap clothes. I be going to Foreman Mills getting these $14 jackets.
But ain't it a blessing?
People be thinking they expensive.
But it's a blessing to be able to.
It is. It's a blessing, and it saved me so much money. But before, I was wearing $600 Ralph Lauren jacket, like just spending this obscene amount of money on clothes. But it's just like, it wasn't, you know, just trying to make sure that even though I was a bigger dude, I was making sure that I was you know, together. So
people are asking, what was your journey like, and what did you do to lose the weight?
So I represent a company called Decalo Weight Loss. I started with them. That was about 3 years ago. And the journey was just It's basically caloric deficit. So, initially when I got on the scale, which was a whole nother story, the scale that they had didn't even go up to my weight, which was so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing that the digital scale didn't go up to my weight, and I had to go into the traditional scales with the bars, with
Yeah.
the push over.
Hmm.
And so just from that moment, my first week, like on the program, they would ask me, what would you normally eat? And when I had to literally be transparent and think about what I was eating on a daily basis, when I was sitting there, like, so I would order Chinese food, and I would get a whole sub and get a large fry, and then get a sweet tea, and then get this and that. And she was like, okay, in order to maintain that size, your caloric intake had to be like 4,000 or almost 5,000 calories a day.
Wow.
Like, are you serious? So to transition from that to go to, your baked fish, your chickens and stuff like that, honestly, anybody that transitions with your caloric deficit is going to lose weight, period. And so my first 3 months, I lost 80 pounds just by
Wow.
just eating better, walking a little bit,
Hmm.
just a little bit. I'm talking about it was like park further, or just small little things.
Little steps. Hmm.
Some baby steps, and that was just 80 pounds, just being disciplined with my food, because majority of the things is what we eat.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the biggest thing was the food, and I did it all naturally. I didn't have any surgeries. I wish I did sometimes, because that's the most famous question: did you have surgery?
Right.
It's crazy, because every day I get an inbox and be like, well, which surgery did you have? It's like, you didn't even ask me, you just assumed.
You assumed.
Because people don't think that people have the natural ability to be disciplined.
Hmm.
And so I was determined. And when you get fed up of being like that, you do what you got to do.
Yeah, and that's one of the
Wow.
biggest thing is that I know a lot of people that have had the surgery, and those that have had the surgery within about 5 years have gained that weight back and
And then
more,
some.
because they never understood about the eating. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And how you go about that. And then
Lifestyle
also
change.
understanding the key word you said is that you're a stress eater. You know what I'm saying?
I am.
I preached a message once that was entitled, I Once Was an Addict. You know what I'm saying? And people were like, really shocked when I talked about it. But I talked about it from the perspective of what I was addicted to, and that was fried chicken. You know what I'm saying? And people laugh, but at the same point, you can be addicted to food, and it becomes the acceptable drug of the church community.
Sanctified bird.
And it does not allow us to say, okay, but this is an issue. You know what I'm saying?
It's an issue.
And so
we don't talk about it.
yeah, and that's one of the things I even, I've been on a journey to lose weight and everything like that, and talked about, that I'm still on the journey right now. I'm still in the battle right now. But I'm 100 pounds lighter than I was
Come on.
when I started the journey.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? But again, it's about the
Jesus.
consistency and building relationships with other people that are going through the natural way. A lot of people want that quick fix. And the quick fix then comes back to haunt them because they never learned how to do it healthily.
Yes.
That's right. And that's one of the reasons why I post food all the time. Is people is like, why do you post food? Because I hear so many people make excuses about eating healthier. Like, we're at the same restaurant. Like, so whether, if I'm at TGI Fridays, whether I'm at Ruth Chris, whether I'm at Wendy's,
Right.
You know what I mean? I try to post what I'm eating, because I'm just like, okay, even on the go, I'm not always eating upscale food. I'm going to Wendy's. I'm going to Chick-fil-A. So I'm showing people,
They got
okay,
salads.
this is what you get when you go to Chick-fil-A. This is what you get when you go here. And it's just a mind change. And you, of course, you have your moments. I remember being in Philadelphia at a place called Bertucci's, and I was saladed out, and I was literally almost about to have a breakdown because I wanted to really eat.
Right.
And I called the Callo, and that's the way it come in with. And they was like, look, stay with me on the phone. Tell us what's on the menu. I'll tell them what's on the menu. She was like, okay, order a lobster ravioli, get the sauce on the side. And she was literally helping me order my
Wow.
food. And, when I tell her all the time, I say, that moment of just human connection, of saying, look, you got this. I'm going to sit on the phone with you while you order. we need people in our lives that's going to help us be accountable
Man,
and
this is
help us
good.
get through it. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And so I ordered the lobster ravioli, got the sauce on the side, and wind up. She was like, "How many you get on there?" And I was like, I think they gave me like 9, and I only wound up eating like 6 or 5,
See?
and like drizzled the sauce versus it's going to be drenched in the sauce. You know what I mean? So it's just like
The
it's
mind.
just small little changes.
The
Yeah,
mind.
it's small little changes.
The mind.
It's in the mind. It's really in the mind. And sometimes I would go back to my hotel, especially when I'm traveling all the time, back to the hotel and take the steps up. I wouldn't take the elevator. Just take the steps up. Because a lot of the times, honestly, in our Black churches, if you want a choir and you sang at 2 services, look at your watch and see how many calories you burn.
Yes, sir.
When I directed choir, when I was a bona fide choir director at my last church, I would literally leave the church leaving burning 600 or 700 calories.
Yes.
But that's like going to the gym.
Yes, sir.
So if I burn 600 calories in church, you done shouted, you done praised God. Now you after church, you done drunk the sweet tea, and then you go to the buffet, you eating your calories right back up. So if you would just make a conscious effort on Sundays after church to eat a little better, you'd have really been to the gym.
Yeah, and I feel you because, I praise the Lord that I'm happily married, and there are other exercises that can just bless you, and you can just burn the calories off in the name of Jesus.
but if you go back and eat that fried chicken, you defeated the purpose.
That's right. I'm just going to go have an
Clark
energy.
just said, "Is my living in vain?"
I'm going to have an energy drink after it.
Right.
Yeah.
My God.
But you know what, Charles? This is
See, there you go. Look at
Charles, this is dope. I'm sitting up here listening to you, and I'm not like excessively overweight, but I'm a coach too. But hearing you are a coach, and I believe God allowed you to go through your journey and live because so many people were where you were and had heart attacks and strokes and died. But I know,
and even through this with COVID,
come on,
I caught COVID back in New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve, I caught COVID. Didn't have a symptom.
wow,
That's because my doctor said that your immune system is built like Fort Knox. For the last couple of years, I've been on zinc. I've been on
vitamin D,
vitamin C. I've been on black seed oil. I've been on all these things prior to this virus
you better preach.
being here. So when it came, I didn't have a runny nose. I didn't have nothing.
You was already ready. You was built for it.
I haven't had a cold in years.
Wow.
When I started being healthy,
Yes.
I didn't have a cold, no runny nose, no nothing, no flu, no nothing. So even my allergies went away. I had allergies. I couldn't be outside for long periods of time. So even with outdoor events, I would have to sit in the tent the whole time and then come out when it was nearly ready for us to sing, or I was going to literally like have an attack.
Jesus.
So the only reason why I knew I had COVID is because one of the, our camera person, she had it. She got tested and was tested positive. So our skeleton crew, everybody had to get tested.
Right.
So, and it was like, you're positive. And I was like, okay. And then what's crazy is every day I was waiting because I'm looking at other people in our team.
Yes.
Some went to the hospital, some this, some that. And I'm just literally sitting at home on vacation without anything. You know what I mean? And I believe that a lot of times, and I do understand that with the virus, everyone has their different different things. But I do believe that it does have a lot to do with how we take care of our bodies.
Yes, the temple.
How we take care of our bodies.
So,
wow.
Brother Butler.
Wow.
I sense a book and a movie coming out of this one.
It's not a book.
And so my question is, to the church community, this is very, very important.
Oh my God, this is the man.
I think that we talk about the African American population, but I think if we just looked at the church community, there is an obesity rate within the church community, and I really believe that your story and some of the other stories of people who have done it naturally, literally will be able to help other people in the church community. Because I'm being honest with you, back in the day, if you was a skinny girl, they did not think you can sing like the big sister.
That's true. Misconception.
And so they were like, no, let the big sister sing because she got the oil on her.
Right.
Because the little one can't. I think that we now are in the season that we can begin to change that. You know what I'm saying? For the next generation.
But I even believe that even look at time and look at the way gospel artists look now in comparison to then.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I was coming up, we had larger gospel artists. Now, our gospel artists are all on health journeys. Like whether it's your Todd Delaney's, your Todd Galbert's are in the gym every day. You know, gospel artists are totally look different from what I remember when I was coming up.
Well, Hollywood.
I'm not gonna go ahead.
Hollywood had a perception of us. If you look at the older days, they thought it was a big woman with a choir robe on, all sweaty and greasy.
Mahalia Jackson, you know.
Yeah, but Mahalia, she wore hers well. But when you start getting to more choir scenes, it was always depicted as the big, huge woman. And I think we are the ones that determine how other people perceive us.
I really do believe that Yolanda Adams had a lot to do with the change in the way, because one, she was a smaller and taller looking woman who kind of looked like a model.
Right.
And then she obtained crossover success.
Yep.
When she put that Mountain High Valley Low album out and that went platinum, then she started to be afforded all those mainstream opportunities. I mean, even more recently, I think about maybe 6 or 7 months ago, she did something for the wrestling match. She sung like the
national anthem.
National anthem. So it's just like she's always been getting these crossover looks because of, you know, one of the things is her look and her voice.
Right.
And we just have to be honest about it. I remember having a publicist at the time where he kept pitching me, and he represented Ty and all these other people, mainstream publicists. And he said, look, I pitch you for everything. And I think the reason why I can't get you on anything is because of your weight. And I'm so glad that he was honest. He said, now you could continue to pay me my salary per month, or I could be honest with you. Now, this man could have lied to me and just took my money every month.
Yes.
I'm grateful that Jason Hardy told me the truth. I am grateful that Jason Hardy told me the truth. And that was one of the first steps of my mind kind of trying to process. He was like, look, you sang for the Obamas time after time. At one point, we was going to the White House every 2 months, literally. I mean, he was like, you have all these, you know, these things under your belt, but I think your size is just blocking your next level. And so I'm grateful that I listened. I'm really grateful that I listened. Because this opportunity, go ahead.
So you said that you were over 500 pounds. Where are you at today?
I am at 308.
Okay. And so
how tall are you?
I am about 5'10".
Okay. So this what I'm gonna do. You know, I'm gonna catch up with you, and then I'm gonna fly to DC, and we're gonna go shopping.
Okay.
Because I want to go see where you, because I know DC got some good shopperies.
And he never shops for himself.
You know what I'm saying?
And you know, the crazy thing is, I still have anxiety about, I know this, you know, first of all, I done got on here and told everything. I still I still have anxiety about going to like stores. It's crazy because, you know, stuff is in the mind. When you've been heavy all your life and you've been going to one store, like I've been going to Big and Tall DXL all my life, where they color code the top of the hanger. So I knew when I was a 6X, I was blue. Right. I knew that when I was a 5X, I was orange. When I was a 4X, I was the taupe color. I'm talking right. Every color, every size you go down has a color. So it was easy just to go and see your color and pull. Now, going into a Macy's and it's a huge store, I have anxiety. It's just, it's overwhelming for me because the stores are so large.
It's a mental.
You know, big men's store are you just drive up and you go in. They're not in malls.
Right.
They specifically have designed it like that. So now to go into a mall and its options, I can't handle it. So I shop online. It's so weird to me, and my assistant be like, if you don't get out of that, I'll be trying to.
You know, the funny thing is that, you know, I didn't grow up big, you know, I got this in my latter years. And so I used to walk into Nordstrom's and Macy's, and they would call me by name. They meet me at the door. I thought the only thing they didn't give me was the champagne, because they always was like, say, oh, this man getting ready to go spend some money. As I got bigger, you know, I've done the king size and the DXLs and everything else, you know, but, you know, there's a little, you know, I would say probably a little arrogance, bourgeoisie in there, because I'd be like saying, nope, I got a special shirt that I need, but I'm not going to wear your shirt, nor am I going to say your name on anything that I do unless I'm getting them at 50% or less off, and I need an endorsement. So like right now I'm wearing a Synergy shirt because they make sure that I have my endorsement fee prices in there.
Oh, listen, I don't play.
You feel what I'm
I
saying?
got my champion endorsement.
There you go.
This is champion.
You know,
I don't play that.
And we're going to bring you over to the Invicta side. Robert Shaw, you're Invicta. So,
you know, I was wearing Invictus before my weight loss journey, but now I wear my Apple Watch every single day.
Yeah.
So, but what I do,
I need one of those.
I get custom designer bands.
Yeah.
Right.
Like this is the Gucci one.
Yeah.
So I get the bands made, but I literally wear my Apple Watch every single day because it keeps me on track.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now I'm gonna call Apple up because they need to give you an endorsement because you know
Now,
no.
listen, you can kill that.
It said no Charles Butler ain't gonna wear your watch unless you give him an endorsement.
Right.
Oh, they're gonna be like who and why and by.
Right. It's okay.
But you know what's so funny about it? Even with endorsements, a lot of times endorsements come about based on how you talk about it or things of that nature. I used to, as one of the gifts to artists, you know, like my group Men for Christ. They had been on the label for 10 years. So at their 10-year anniversary, I brought out these cases, right? And they thought I was telling jokes and they thought it was a pacemaker. You know what I'm saying? But when we opened them up, it's like, you get an Invicta, you get an Invicta, you get an Invicta. So Invicta loves us because of the branding. And so they're like, okay, yeah, we're going to make sure that you get the best deals on these.
I used to I had tons of Invicta watches, and I literally gave them away when I started my health journey.
Okay.
So that was only like 3 or 4 years ago.
And you didn't call me?
But that's understandable because that watch right there will hold you accountable.
Yeah.
It holds me. It tells me when to stand up. It tells me everything I need to do, and then it has these challenges with other people that I'm on here with, of like we can see how many calories each other are doing, and then sometimes I get texts from them like, "Why are you not moving?" I'm like, "I'm doing radio or I'm doing something."
Right.
You know what I mean? Especially when I do, sit there for a couple hours and do radio.
Right.
It's just like it's nothing you can do.
Right. Now let's talk about your new single because it's a wonderful song.
Oh, thank you. As great as our faithfulness. I'm a lover of hymns, man.
Ooh.
Like, I love hymns. Hymns are my thing. And the crazy thing about this album, the album that we did, The Good News, we did it. We had 2 rehearsals, and we had 2 weeks to do it, 2 weeks to record. We literally did everything in 2 weeks. The day after the recording, we did the overdubs for the choir. We never even did lead overdubs, and we just literally threw the album out. So it was kind of crazy how when the album went to #1, I was just like, why is my first #1 album something that we just threw out? It was just in COVID.
Yeah.
It was just crazy. It was #1 on iTunes. And I'm just like, the album that we put the least amount of work in, had the least amount of budget, did the best for us. So
that's how God works, though.
It's just how he works. But the intention behind the album was all the proceeds from this record was going to feed our community.
Wow.
So we literally just put this out to be
a blessing,
a vehicle just to help people. So I think that's another reason why God believed on it.
That's why.
So we didn't make single songs. So that's why I was just like, I don't even know how this is happening with As Great As Our Faithfulness, but I believe the hymns still work. I was like, radio is not going to, pick it up. And when my local station picked it up, I was just like, how? Because they didn't pick up my last single with Coco from SWB on it.
Because
like, y'all didn't play my last song.
Because the season we're in, a song like Great Is Thy Faithfulness, the lyrics, great is thy faithfulness. God is great. People need to hear this.
They do. And hymns still work.
They work.
I believe hymns still work. They work. And, you could pull out certain songs. I mean, I've been to concerts and been on the concert platforms with so many people.
Yes.
And they've done their huge, big songs.
Yes.
And you go from that big song to doing a hymn in the beginning, it always
wipes them out.
Works. It always works. So Greatest Our Faithfulness is, the arrangement is by a gentleman in Pittsburgh named Trini Maxey. He's out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and he did the arrangement, and he kind of added our little Trinity flair to it.
Right.
And this is what people hear today. So I'm grateful for the song. I would have never thought it was going to be I didn't think we was going to have any singles from this album, but God is faithful.
Yes.
Amen.
Now tell people how they can follow you.
You can follow me on Instagram. I'm Charles Butler Jr. on Instagram and Twitter, and Charles Butler and Trinity on Facebook.
Well, brother, we thank you so much for being a part of the Wake Up Morning Show. We thank you for your
Yes,
transparency
beautiful
and
interview.
your story. So many people that are tied in on Facebook are saying how much you are encouraging them, and they appreciate you so much. We're so excited to be able to feature this single on this morning. This is none other than Charles Butler, and the song is called Great Is Thy Faithfulness.
Hey, bro, Charles, just know that our friend Troy is smiling at you right now.
I know.
He's gone from here, but he's still here.
I found out that I got that number one at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I always called Troy late because he was on LA time.
Yes.
And my first instinct was to hang up with the label and to call him.
Right.
And that moment hit me so bad.
Yes.
It was supposed to be a celebratory moment, but that hit me so bad.
Yes.
I miss my friend.
Me too. Me too.
Amen. Well, in respect to your friend, and the work still continues, he would be blessed right here. This is Great Is Thy Faithfulness by Charles Butler right here on GODRadio1.com.